Hey everyone, it's Keith here. This is Debrief, a monthly reflection on the projects I tackled, the lessons I learned, and the shifts in how I work. June was slightly different. Let me explain. For the first time in a long time, I gave myself permission to travel without treating every day like a production schedule. It was about slowing down, and in hindsight, that may have been the most productive thing I did all month. Most of June was spent traveling through Japan. I made my way from Osaka through to Hiroshima, stopping in smaller cities and quieter towns along the way. One place that really surprised me was Onomichi. I didn't know much about it before visiting, but it slowly became one of my favorite places on the trip. I planned this trip almost a year ago to celebrate turning 30, but it's funny how there's a whole narrative around resetting your life in your 30s or going to Japan to rediscover yourself. Considering the timing and the place I was visiting, it almost sounded I was doing exactly that. But honestly, it couldn't have been further from the truth. It never felt like life had ended or that I needed to start over. If anything, it felt like a continuation. Over the past year, I've become more certain about who I am, what I value, and the life I'm trying to build. Looking back over the past 5 years, I'm incredibly grateful for everything I've had the chance to work on. The projects, the people I've met, the brand partnerships, the opportunities. They've all accumulated over time. Nothing really feels like it was wasted. Every project taught me something. Every relationship opened another door. Every opportunity led to the next. When I zoom out, everything feels intertwined. So turning 30 doesn't feel like a reset at all. It almost feels like continuing the journey, but with much more clarity, more confidence, and much more intention. Instead of planning every hour around filming, I approached this trip like an actual holiday. Some days I filmed, some days I barely touched the camera. I spent more time walking, exploring neighborhoods, learning about the culture, trying new food, and simply paying attention to where I was. Ironically, taking the pressure off creating made me enjoy creating again. There wasn't the usual expectation that every location had to become a video or a piece of content, or that every moment had to justify bringing an expensive camera. Sometimes the best part of the day was simply experiencing it. One thing I noticed while traveling was how much my relationship with work has changed over the past year. On previous trips, I always felt the need to bring my camera everywhere, shoot everything, post constantly, stay productive. But in reality, that pressure usually had the opposite effect. I'd carry all my camera gear only to realize I didn't actually feel like creating. This time felt different. I found myself picking up the camera because I genuinely wanted to document moments again, not because I felt like I had to. There was a level of joy in shooting for myself that I haven't felt in a long time. Maybe it was being in a different country, maybe it was getting used to the new lenses I picked up before the trip, or maybe documenting my life through these monthly debriefs has quietly changed the way I think about creating. Whatever the reason, I'm grateful for it, because I genuinely had fun making photos and videos again. And that's surprisingly rare to say, especially if you know me. Another thing that stood out was how little work followed me overseas. There were still a few emails and messages here and there, but for 2 weeks, there was no filming, no editing, and no urgent deadlines waiting for me. I'm incredibly grateful to be in a position where I can build systems, plan ahead, and step away without everything falling apart. I noticed that shift back in March while traveling for a month. This time, it became even more obvious. It feels like the systems I've been trying to build are finally doing what they're supposed to do. They're creating space. Looking back over the first half of the year, I can finally see a pattern that I didn't fully recognize while I was living through it. January was about building systems. February reminded me that consistency compounds. March gave me clarity. April was about creating space. May was about prioritization, and June became proof that those ideas were actually working. The phrase less but better has shown up recently throughout these debriefs. Originally, I thought it was about productivity, but now I think it's about intention. Doing fewer things, but giving them much more attention. Working with people I genuinely enjoy. Creating work I'm proud to put my name on. And building a life where success isn't measured by how busy I am, but by how aligned everything feels. Maybe that's what turning 30 has meant for me. Not about starting over again, but continuing the same path, but with much more intention than ever before. For now, July is about shifting back into work. There are plenty of client projects waiting, a backlog of footage to edit, and ideas from this trip that I'm excited to explore. The challenge now isn't finding momentum, it's protecting what this trip reminded me of, to keep building a creative life that's sustainable. One where I can keep making things I care about, working with good people, and remembering that sometimes the best ideas arrive when there's finally enough space to notice them.